in over time, but I guess we can probably get started. So, well, thanks both of you for being here. Really excited to talk a little bit about this industry, as I know, there's still a lot of people who are perhaps, re-entering the market now that recreational cannabis has been legalized, and other people are experiencing it for the first time. So I guess my first question for you is, as people who are exploring medical uses, trying a new product, or other potential uses for cannabis for them, what are some recommendations that both of you have for helping them get started here?
Thank you.
Either of you can. No
He's going to be a gentleman. Thanks, Nash.
Okay.
I'll start. First of all, welcome. It's a friendly plant put here by nature, and it's been a part of us. It's been a part of the human experience for thousands of years. So welcome back home, I would say. Let's start there, and start with symptom relief. A lot of people think, okay, well, I have diabetes and high blood pressure and all of these things, and we can focus on those over time, but let's focus on what brings you in. What's keeping you awake at night? Are you in pain? Can you not turn your brain off? Think about what are the pressing symptoms you'd like to manage, and start there. I would say that would be my recommendation.
Certainly. Yeah, and piggybacking off of that, I think understanding your needs, definitely looking for what you're looking to avoid, and then also kind of what you're looking to get out of it. If you have dietary restrictions, if you are not looking to smoke, if you're looking for something that's going to be more relaxing versus more uplifting, the more you share, the more we can help you out. So I just kind of want it to be a conversation between the bud tender and the patient or customer.
Certainly. And my next question is for Q here. And so now more than ever, THC and CBD products aren't just limited to edibles and joints, as you started alluding to in your last comment there. There's a wide variety of oils, tinctures, gummies, skincare products, and more aimed at addressing various medicinal and recreational needs people might have. And for those entering the market, can you give us a bit of a rundown? I know that there's quite a bit out there, but a short rundown, if you can, of some of the options that are out there for people.
Well, there are a myriad of options. So everything from hair products to cosmetics, skincare products, lip balms. I'm just going from head to toe, lotions, creams, balms, topical oils, massage oils, suppositories. When you talk about things that you can ingest, everything from CBD water to THC and cannabis infused drinks. And by the way, when I say cannabis, I mean both CBD and THC. All comes from the same plant, cannabis plant. So I can just keep it all in the family there. But tinctures, which people don't really know what a tincture is, but it's one of the oldest forms of pharmaceutical medicine anyway. And it's basically an extract of cannabis mixed into either an oil or an alcohol or vegetable glycerin, but they're easily absorbed under your tongue. So tinctures, which can be used orally, and you can also use tinctures topically and on your beard. I just found that out recently, but also ingestibles. So any type of candy, gummy, honey, tablets, gel. It really runs the gamut. And then bath products. There are bath soaks. There are CBD bath bombs. There are topicals that you can roll on. I'm probably repeating myself at this point, but you can. There's a reason why you're finding CBD in just about everything, and it's because there are a myriad of ways that your body can absorb it. So those are just a couple.
Yeah, certainly, and that's quite a range there. Going from edibles to bath bombs, it's all over the board, certainly. And so the next one is for Nash here. If someone is walking into a provisioning center for the first time, what should they be expecting out of the process, and how do bud tenders walk customers through the basics such as the differences between indica and sativa, or what effect CBD has on THC products, to help them determine what products are going to help meet the needs that they have.
Yeah. I guess I'll speak first to the customer side. So I would say to make sure that you bring your driver's license or passport. We will not be able to help you out if you do not have that. Also, make sure to bring your med card if you are a Michigan marijuana patient. 21 and up for recreational, 18 and up for medical. I would look ahead to see if they have an ATM on site or if they're accepting debit cards. And then on the bud tender side, I would say, are you looking for more a relaxing experience or an uplifting experience? So the indica, the body high, relaxing; sativa, more the uplifting, better for creativity. And then after that, they'll break it down by flower, pre-rolls, vaporizers, tinctures, topicals, and all that good stuff. They'll also talk to you about your limits, what you can purchase that day and per month. And then also they'll kind of talk about CBD in conjunction with THC and how that helps with pain management, anxiety, and maybe even sleep. And then, as that conversation unfolds and we discover your needs, you'll really get to see the benefits of cannabis and how it can work for you.
Certainly. And we'll go back to Q for this next one. And I'm sure there are people out there who are interested in the potential benefits that you've mentioned of cannabis products, whether it be CBD or THC, but they might have concerns about getting high or experiencing other side effects or finding a product that works with their dietary restrictions if it's something that you consume. And so what are some of the options that are available to people who may have some concerns?
Well, a lot of people definitely have concerns. This is new for a lot of people, and many people come to cannabis medicine when other things don't work. So I would say first and foremost, come to your bud tender and give yourself time to figure out what works. It's going to be a trial and error type experience. If you're concerned about getting high, we can talk about that, but there are ways to manage that psychoactivity. And a lot of times people have this misperception on what being high is. When I say to them, are you okay with a glass of wine? Do you like the way that feels? Because that's sort of like a decent high, so you're not going to be passed out in a corner unless you're taking a lot of something. So I would say there's a way to manage your psychoactivity. Start with CBD. I have a lot of patients, especially older patients, and they start off with topicals. A topical will not get you high, but if you have arthritis, it can be incredibly effective. And if you have a sort of back pain or menstrual pains, those types of applications can be really effective without getting high. But there may come a time when you're going to have to go beyond CBD and try some THC or other cannabinoids because they work better in conjunction. And so find a way to introduce THC into your regimen if CBD isn't working for you. And that's when you move into ratio. When you move into something that has a lot of CBD and maybe a little bit of THC, and you find your way that
Great. And you cut off a little bit at the end there, just so you know. I heard almost everything that you said, but right at the end, there was a little bit of a lag or something. But
right.
Yeah. So, and then, Nash, my next question would be for you. Michigan, and you started to get into this with your last answer here, but Michigan started out with a medical marijuana market before recreational use was legalized. And now that anyone can purchase cannabis products in Michigan, can you talk about what factors customers might consider if they're determining whether to purchase recreationally or medicinally?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I would say to consider is potency limits. On the recreational side, if you're going for edibles, they cap those at 100 milligrams. So that's something to consider. Second, I would say that dispensary access is something to think about. For example, the city of Detroit is only medical. So if you're looking to shop there, you will need to have your medical card. And then lastly, it's financial considerations. So basically, marijuana card holders, medical marijuana card holders do not have to pay the marijuana excise tax, 10%. So if you frequent dispensaries enough, I would say that, weigh it out. Do you spend enough money to benefit from getting the card? If not, maybe it's not for you.
Certainly. And we actually have a question in the chat here, and both of you can take a stab at it. This is from Scott, and his question is, does CBD offer the same benefits as THC and cannabis, but at a lower level? And what are the advantages of each?
Okay. I'll hop in. I'll start. Okay. So the first part of the question is they both, again, they're components of the same plant, but they have and they tend to work better together. It's called the entourage effect. So the sum of the parts are better together. However, you have people who cannot have THC for a variety of reasons. So those people have the option of just CBD. What's great about CBD is that it is anti-inflammatory. So think of it as a very potent ibuprofen. It has anti-inflammatory properties. And usually inflammation is the root cause of a lot of diseases and disease processes and pain. So if you can address inflammation, you can, in many cases, address the underlying pain and the concern there. However, THC tends to be great when it comes to pain. Let me back up. CBD has also been implicated in helping people with epileptic issues as well. So that's proven benefit of CBD. It definitely helps out people who have seizure disorders. So when it comes to THC, though, THC is great for pain. It's great for sedation in some cases, and it helps CBD work better. Maybe Nash, and you can. But I should also add that CBD in particular tends to be better for anxiety issues. And THC is very tricky when it comes to anxiety. So, Nash, feel free to.
Yeah, no, everything you just said was absolutely correct. I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I always like to use THC and CBD in conjunction with one another. I feel that it helps with my relaxation and especially right before bed, helping me go to sleep. That's kind of how I use it. Now, some people might use it for pain management or for anxiety. But the way that I choose to do it is definitely for sleep and for rest. Now, I'm sure we're going to touch on this a little bit later, but CBD is also used for parachuting as well if you do get a little too high. So,
yeah.
Sorry, I had my mic off for a second, so in case there was any background noise. But yeah, and that actually goes straight into my next question for Q. So every once in a while, accidents can happen. And what do you recommend if someone who's trying out a new product gets a little bit too high?
Deep breathing. Calm down, right? And as Nash mentioned, we talked about parachuting. There's even a product called parachuting. It's just CBD. So it's a solid spectrum CBD. CBD mitigates the psychoactivity of the THC. So if you get a little too much psychoactivity in the spirit and you think you're going to die, remind yourself that you're not going to die. This is very cool. It happens to people when they have too much THC. Happens to dogs as well. There's another two instances of so your pets. But if you do ingest too much and you're feeling too high, extremely hydrated, water, some sugar. So I don't want to say myths, but things that are rumored to be a so a CBD remedy tends to be research and also to sell. So it's going to be maybe 8 to 10 to 12 hours. So call a friend, call resist the urge to and try to distract yourself. Really, and again, breathe. Do not. And if I miss anything,
Sure. Types of things. Sure. A couple of people are commenting. Your audio was dipping in and out a little bit. Someone said they're wondering if your mic might be covered slightly, or it just. I'm no tech guru, so I'm not 100% sure what to recommend. But yeah, a couple of people were saying that they missed a little bit of what you said. So I apologize for anyone watching. Oh. Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes, that's much better. If you want to, and I hate to make you repeat yourself too much, but if you want to address that question one more time, or just in case anyone missed a little bit of what you were saying.
I'll recap as quickly as possible. So first of all, the CBD remedy is the most researched and tends to be the most successful. So if you have CBD, you are taking too much, take CBD. Also, calm yourself down, deep breathe, remind yourself you're not going to die. Even though it will feel that you are going to die. Distract yourself, possibly call a friend, watch a movie. If you have chewing on also eating, drinking something sugary, also hydrate yourself as well, but drink lemonade with real sugar. You need the sugar, so if you're not not working so well for you. And yeah, just try to remind yourself you're not going to die, and also prepare for what could be 8 to 10 hours of feeling. It tends to last a while. Whatever you do, don't eat anything that would be gross.
Sure. Yeah, well, thank you so much, and those are all great suggestions. Yeah, someone is well, you have access to the chat too, Q. If you wouldn't mind dropping a few of those tips in the chat, especially the sugar, and also especially relaxing and making sure that they know it'll be okay, right? That's one of the more important ones, right? Yeah, and so for Nash, if a person has gone to a provisioning center, talked to a bud tender, purchased product, they're about to head home, go through some of the things that they should be cognizant of about transporting and storing their product to make sure that they're in compliance with the law.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say once you leave a dispensary and you hop in your car, I would say put your product away from arm's reach. That could be in the trunk or the back seat, not in the glove box or in the passenger side. And then keep the bag sealed with the receipt with it. That way you have proof that you purchased it legally. Please do not enjoy in your car. Wait until you get home. And then once you are home, I would say store it away from sunlight and away from moisture, and you should be totally set.
Certainly sounds easy enough, right?
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear from both of you a little bit. We talked at the beginning. Q talked a little bit about just the multitude of products that are available. But as Gus said at the start of the show here, there's a lot on the horizon as well. So if you want to take a little bit of a future forward approach, what are some of your thoughts about what consumers can expect as Michigan's cannabis industry continues to grow and evolve?
Well, I guess I'll go first. I guess you're going to see a lot more consumption lounges popping up, similar to like a hookah lounge where you can go and enjoy there. Very similar, but with cannabis. I think there's got to be a lot of campgrounds that are cannabis friendly. And I think that the stigma around cannabis is going to severely dip in the next year and moving forward.
Sure. And Q, how about you?
I think that people will see more consumption lounges. I know I'm looking forward to those. People are looking for opportunities to enjoy with their friends. I think you'll see more now that the pandemic is waning, hopefully. You'll see more social activities. People definitely want to get out now and they want to make up for lost time. And a lot of times people have, I think they decide to throw caution to the wind and not worry about what people think anymore. And so that stigma, as Nash mentioned, is I'm happy to see that. So I think you'll see more social acceptance and hopefully more municipal acceptance. You have more communities looking for tax dollars now, and they're looking into their neighbors and they're seeing that the sky hasn't fallen, and these communities are thriving. These businesses are as well, and maybe they'll be more welcoming, and maybe you'll see more provisioning centers in your neighborhoods and in your communities.
Absolutely. And Andy McFarland just posted in the chat, for anyone who hasn't seen it, a link to some of the 420 friendly campgrounds and lodging establishments, as you mentioned in your comment, Nash. And we have about 5 minutes left. So if anyone has any last minute questions for our panelists, feel free to pop them in. But, since you both mentioned it, I'd like to follow up on, that comment about the stigma. And, I guess if you could just elaborate a little bit on, what might contribute to more people kind of getting over that that I guess initial hesitation or some of the concerns, and how Q, you mentioned the pandemic is one of the reasons it might be dissipating, but are there any other factors that are contributing to people being a little bit more open to cannabis if they hadn't been before?
I think that during the pandemic, we had skyrocketing levels of anxiety, and we saw people turning to provisioning centers that were deemed essential. And if they're at home anyway, they had to stay at home. They realized, wait a minute, this isn't as I was taught it could be. So I think people realize that, wait a minute, were we bamboozled? And then they start telling their friends. And I mean, I have people in my neighborhood, and I'm talking about people in their 60s. You give them a pain cream, and now he's telling all of his friends about cannabis pain cream. So I think it starts there. My mother's church is the same way. Now the whole church is like, what did you break today? So I think as people are starting to talk more, segments coming down, and small conversations within, homes and friends and communities over coffee or tea.
Oh, well, yeah, and you should mention that that is one offering that your company does offer, the high teas. So you can connect that way, and certainly word of mouth is an extremely powerful motivator for people. But yeah, Nash, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, exactly what Q said. I think it's just having those conversations. I think, once we're seeing moms, dads, family members, friends talking about it, enjoying it together, I think the stigma is just going to completely disappear. I think we're already at a point where it's already a lot more accepted than it was 10 years ago and beyond. So I think moving forward, it's going to be nothing but blue skies.
Certainly. And we have just about one or 2 minutes left in the session here. So I wanted to give both of you an opportunity to give some final thoughts for our viewers here today. Anything we missed in the session that you want to hammer home for people?
Yeah, I would say stopping in dispensaries, THC percentage is not the only thing to be looking at. Vodka has a higher alcohol percentage than wine, but which one would you want to drink? So I will always say terpenes, what gives cannabis its aroma and flavor. It can also affect the effects you're going to be feeling from it. So definitely check those out and ask your bud tenders about how they would work for you.
Certainly. And Q, how about you?
I would say that if you find that CBD or THC are leaving you less than satisfied, there are other cannabinoids out there that could give you medicinal benefits. There are companies out there that are providing. CBG is a cannabinoid that's helping people with maybe like bowel diseases, IBS, and things like that. You have THCV for managing diabetes. We won't talk about Delta 8. It's going to be regulated, but you'll be able to hopefully find it in provisioning centers soon, and it's available online right now. So there are lots of cannabinoids that are available to this plant. So feel free to explore. THC and CBD are just the same.
Absolutely. Well, Q and Nash, thank you both so much for sharing your insight and your expertise in Michigan's cannabis industry for our consumers and all our viewers watching today. We really appreciate it. And yeah, they will be sticking around a little bit for Q&A at the end of the session. That's correct, right? You'll be in the moderated Q&A at the end here.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So if anyone has any other questions for Q or Nash, they will be sticking around at the end of our program, and feel free to shoot them a message there. But thanks again, and really appreciate talking with both of you today.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.